The Marchetti estate sits on a hill like a crown that forgot it was stolen. Marble, iron gates, windows that swallow light without giving anything back. From the street below, it looks like power. From inside, it looks like a tomb with good furniture. I've cleaned these floors for 3 years. Every morning at 6, before the sun decides whether to bother with the day, I'm here. My hands know the rhythm, the swirl of the mop, the weight of the vacuum, the particular angle you need to dust the chandelier in the foyer without the crystals chiming like an alarm. My name is Grace Okafor. The name on my paycheck says, Cleaning Staff, G. Okafor. To most people in this house, I'm just the girl, or her, or nothing at all. To Vincent Marchetti, I'm a shadow that makes dirt disappear. That's the arrangement. I keep his world clean. He pretends I'm not in it. Vincent Marchetti is what people call a businessman, the kind with lawyers who arrive in black cars and accountants who never smile, the kind whose phone calls end rooms. His empire, imports, exports, real estate that changes hands like prayers, runs on silence and envelopes that pass between men who never write anything down. He's 52, silver at the temples, expensive cologne that smells like cedar and old money, 3-piece suits even at breakfast. He moves through his house like a king, inspecting a kingdom he's already conquered. I move through it like water, invisible until I'm needed. The morning it started, rain was tapping against the windows like someone asking to be let in. I was in the library, all leather and dark wood and books no one reads. Vincent keeps a collection of first editions behind glass. Hemingway, Fitzgerald, Steinbeck. Spines so pristine, they look embarrassed to be here. I was dusting the shelves when I heard the door open behind me. Grace, his voice, always calm, always certain. I turned. He was standing in the doorway, hands in his pockets, expression neutral. But his eyes, dark, measuring, were doing that thing they do, calculating, assessing value. Mr. Marchetti, I kept my voice even, professional. The way you speak to men who hold your rent money in their indifference. My office, 5 minutes. He didn't wait for an answer. Men like Vincent don't ask questions they think might have 2 answers. I set down the cloth, smoothed my uniform, plain black dress, white collar, shoes that don't make noise. I caught my reflection in one of the glass cases. Dark skin against dark wood. I looked like I was already disappearing. 5 minutes later, I was standing in his office. The room smelled like cigars and leather. A massive desk dominated the space, mahogany, old enough to have a history. Behind it, Vincent sat in a chair that looked like a throne, someone melted down and reshaped into furniture. He didn't look up immediately, just kept writing something in a ledger, fountain pen moving with the precision of a man who signed things that done lives. Close the door. I did. The sound it made, that soft, final click, felt heavier than it should have. He set down the pen, looked at me, not at me, exactly, through me, like I was a window he was checking for cracks. I'm missing something, he said. My heart didn't speed up, not yet, but something in my chest tightened, the way skin does before it bruises. Sir? A watch, gold, Patek Philippe, vintage, my father's. He said it like he was describing the weather, calm, factual, but underneath I heard it, the edge, the thing that made men in this house walk carefully. I haven't seen it, Mr. Marchetti. No? No, sir. He leaned back in his chair. The leather creaked. Outside, rain kept falling, softer now, like it was trying not to be heard. You clean my bedroom every morning? Yes, sir. The watch was on my dresser 2 days ago. Yesterday morning, after you'd been in the room, it was gone. The air in the room changed, became thinner, colder. I didn't take anything. I'm not accusing you, Grace. His voice was still calm, reasonable, the tone of a man explaining something obvious to someone slow. I'm simply stating facts. The watch was there. You were in the room. Now it's gone. I don't steal. Everyone steals. He said it like it was physics, gravity. The only variable is what they think they can get away with. My hands were behind my back. I pressed my nails into my palms. The pain helped, kept me sharp. I didn't take your watch. He studied me. 5 seconds, 10, the kind of silence that's an accusation in itself. Then he smiled. Not warm, not cold, just empty. I'll review the security footage. If I'm wrong, I'll apologize. If I'm right, He let the sentence hang there, unfinished, dangerous. You won't find anything. We'll see. He picked up his pen again. Dismissal. I turned to leave. Grace. I stopped, didn't turn around. I've always thought you were honest. It would disappoint me to learn otherwise. Disappointment. From a man like Vincent Marchetti, that word doesn't mean sadness. It means consequences. I left his office, closed the door quietly behind me. The hallway stretched out in front of me, long, empty, lined with paintings of people who were dead before I was born. My reflection moved with me in the polished marble floor, distorted and dark. I thought I was safe here. That's the first lie people like me tell ourselves. We think if we work hard enough, stay quiet enough, keep our heads down and our hands clean, we'll be invisible in all the right ways. But invisibility is a privilege, and it can be revoked the moment someone decides you're convenient to blame. By the time I reached the kitchen, my hands had stopped shaking, but something else had started, a cold, clear understanding of what was about to happen. Vincent Marchetti had already decided I was guilty. The security footage wasn't about truth. It was about confirmation. And in this house, in this world of marble and silence and men who move money like pieces on a board, truth wasn't what happened. Truth was what people with power decided happened. I poured myself water, drank it slowly. The glass was crystal, imported, worth more than my monthly salary. Through the window, I could see the gardens, wet and gray under the rain, beautiful and lifeless at the same time. I set the glass down gently, dried it, put it back in the cabinet, and I went back to work. Because that's what you do when you're powerless. You keep moving, you keep cleaning, you wait for the storm to decide whether it's going to pass over you or bury you. The rain didn't stop that day. Neither did the quiet certainty that my life was about to change. I just didn't know how much. Not yet. The estate operates on routines so precise they feel like rituals. 6 a.m. I arrived through the service entrance. Maria, the cook, is already in the kitchen, kneading dough for bread no one will eat. She's 63 from Calabria, been here longer than the furniture. We exchange nods. Not friendship, just acknowledgement that we're both here, both necessary, both replaceable. 6:15. I start upstairs. Vincent's bedroom first. He's already gone by then, downstairs in his office or out in the city, conducting the kind of business that doesn't leave receipts. The room is always immaculate. Bed made military tight, suits hanging in order by color, everything in its place. Except, 2 days ago, the watch wasn't. I'd noticed it. Of course I had. You notice everything in a house where noticing is your job. It was sitting on the dresser next to his cufflinks and a leather wallet worn soft with age. Gold, heavy looking, the kind of object that carries history in its weight. I dusted around it, carefully. The way you handle things that cost more than your life. The next morning, it was gone. I hadn't thought anything of it. Rich men move their possessions. They take things with them, lock them away, lend them to other rich men. I assumed Vincent had put it somewhere safe. I was wrong. The day after his office conversation, the atmosphere in the house changed, subtle, like the air pressure dropping before a storm you can't see yet. Vincent barely acknowledged me when our paths crossed in the hallway. His nod was colder, more distant. Maria stopped making eye contact. The gardener, Luis, quiet man, 30 years of trimming hedges into shapes that please people who don't look at them, watched me differently when I passed the windows. Word had spread. That's how it works in houses like this. Whispers move through staff like smoke through cracks. Someone heard something, someone else added to it. By noon, everyone knew the Black Maid was suspected of theft. No one said it out loud. They didn't have to. I felt it in the silence, the way conversation stopped when I entered the kitchen, the way eyes followed me down hallways. The particular quality of politeness people use when they've already decided. You're guilty but haven't yet decided what to do about it. I kept working, kept my face neutral, kept my hands busy. But inside, something was cracking. Not anger, not yet. Something colder. The slow realization that no matter what the security footage showed, the verdict was already written. Because this is how it works. This is how it's always worked. A rich white man loses something valuable. A black woman who cleans his house becomes the most logical explanation. Not because of evidence, because of convenience. Because of a story that's been told so many times, it's become reflex. I wanted to scream, wanted to walk into Vincent's office and demand he look at me, really look at me, and see that I wasn't what he thought I was. But I knew better. Men like Vincent don't see people like me. We're functions. We make beds and scrub floors and take out trash. We exist in relation to our usefulness. And when something goes wrong, we exist in relation to our blameworthiness. That evening, I stayed late. Vincent had a meeting. 3 men in dark suits arrived at 7. I was finishing the second floor when they came upstairs, moving past me like I was furniture. They went into the study, the one with the locked cabinets and the painting that's probably worth more than my family's collective lifetime earnings. I could hear their voices through the door, low, serious, the particular tone men use when discussing things that end badly for someone else. I didn't linger, didn't try to listen. That's another rule. Don't know things you shouldn't. It keeps you safe. Usually. I was descending the back stairs when I heard a door open behind me. Grace. I turned. It was Anthony, Vincent's nephew, 28, handsome in the way men are when they've never had to work for anything. He handled the logistic side of the family business, which, from what I understood, meant moving things that shouldn't be moved in ways that shouldn't be documented. He was leaning against the doorframe, arms crossed, smiling that smile rich boys learn early, the one that says they're charming even when they're not. Working late, he observed. Finishing up, Mr. Marchetti. Anthony, please. He descended 2 steps, closing the distance between us. Not threatening, just present. Mr. Marchetti is my uncle, makes me feel old. I didn't respond, didn't step back, didn't give him anything to interpret as either encouragement or fear. I heard about the watch, he said, voice casual, too casual. Yes, sir. Terrible business. My uncle, he's particular about his things. Sentimental, you know. That watch was his father's. Wore it on the day He paused, smiled again. Well, family history. I didn't take it. Of course not. He said it like he believed me, like we were allies in this misunderstanding. But you understand his position. A thing like that goes missing, he has to investigate, has to be thorough. It's not personal. Everything is personal, especially things people say aren't. I understand, I said. Good. He glanced back toward the study, where voices were still murmuring. Between you and me, I think someone might have moved it. My uncle's not as organized as he thinks, but he shrugged. He needs someone to blame. That's just how he processes things. Will the security footage show what happened? Something flickered in his expression. Brief, almost too fast to catch, but I saw it. If there's footage, I'm sure it will. If. That word hung there, heavy and sharp. Is there a reason there wouldn't be? I asked. The cameras are old. Sometimes they glitch. Sometimes recordings get corrupted. He said it lightly, like he was discussing weather patterns. Technology, you know, unreliable. My stomach tightened. So, there's no footage. I didn't say that. His smile widened, friendly, dangerous. I'm just saying, if you're counting on a video to save you, you might want to prepare for disappointment. He moved past me down the stairs, stopped at the bottom, looked back up. My advice? If you know where the watch is, now would be a good time to remember. Uncle Vincent, he's reasonable when people are honest with him. Less reasonable when they make him waste time. Then he was gone, disappeared into the house like smoke. I stood there on the stairs, alone. The walls around me were decorated with portraits of Marchetti ancestors, stern-faced men and women who'd built their empire on things they didn't talk about. They all looked down at me with the same expression, indifference laced with certainty. I descended the rest of the stairs slowly. In the kitchen, Maria was gone. The lights were dim. The space felt larger than it should, cavernous and cold. I sat down at the small staff table, the one we're allowed to use during breaks, the one that's tucked in the corner, out of sight from the main rooms. My hands were shaking again, not from fear, from understanding. The footage was gone, or would be, or never existed in the first place. Vincent Marchetti had decided I was guilty, and his nephew, smiling, charming Anthony, had just confirmed it. They weren't looking for truth. They were building a narrative, and I was the convenient villain. I thought about leaving, walking out right then, disappearing before this got worse. But leaving meant guilt, meant I'd lose the reference I needed for the next job. meant I'd confirm their story without ever having a chance to fight it. And more than that, something in me refused to run, refused to be the person they'd already decided I was. I stood up, smoothed my uniform, checked my reflection in the darkened window. Grace Okafor, 31 years old, daughter of immigrants who cleaned other people's houses so I could go to college. I'd made it 2 years before the money ran out, before I had to become exactly what I was trying not to be. But I wasn't a thief, and I wasn't going to disappear quietly just because it was convenient for men who thought power meant they could rewrite reality. I turned off the lights, locked the service door, walked to my car, a 10-year-old Honda that started on the third try. The rain had stopped. The night was clear and cold. Stars were out, indifferent and beautiful. I drove home to my apartment, 1 bedroom, rent I could barely afford, walls so thin I could hear my neighbor's television through the plaster. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, and I thought about truth, about how it's supposed to matter, about how we tell children that honesty wins, that justice prevails, that good people are protected by the simple fact of their goodness. We lie to children, kindly, but we lie. Because truth doesn't protect you, power does. And I had none. By dawn, I'd made a decision. If Vincent Marchetti wanted a fight, he'd get one, but not the one he expected. The accusation became official on a Thursday. I arrived at 6 a.m., same as always. The service entrance was locked. That had never happened before. I knocked, waited. Rain was starting again, light, persistent, the kind that soaks through eventually. Maria opened the door. Her face was tight, apologetic in the way that meant she'd been told to do something she disagreed with but would do anyway. "Mr. Marchetti wants to see you." No, good morning, no small talk. I followed her through the kitchen. The house felt different, colder, like the building itself had turned against me. Vincent was in the dining room, sitting at the head of the table, long, dark wood, set for one. He was eating breakfast, eggs, toast, coffee in a porcelain cup painted with gold edges. He didn't look up when I entered. "Sit." There were 12 chairs around the table. I took the one at the far end. The distance between us felt intentional, a courtroom layout, judge and accused. He finished his eggs, dabbed his mouth with a linen napkin, set it down with care. Then he looked at me. I had the security footage reviewed. My heart was loud enough I thought he might hear it. And inconclusive. The word landed like a blade wrapped in silk. "What does that mean?" "It means," he said slowly, "the camera in my bedroom experienced a technical malfunction. The footage from the relevant time period is corrupted. Convenient. So convenient it stopped being coincidence and became architecture. So, you have no proof I took anything. I have no proof you didn't." The logic was immaculate, circular, a trap disguised as reason. "Mr. Marchetti, I didn't steal from you." "Grace." He said my name like he was disappointed, like I'd failed a test he'd given me in secret. "I've built a life on reading people, knowing who to trust, who to watch, and you—" He paused, sipped his coffee. "You've always been trustworthy, reliable, which makes this particularly unfortunate. I didn't take your watch." "Then where is it?" "I don't know." "Not good enough." He stood, walked toward me, slowly, each step deliberate. He stopped 3 feet away, close enough that I had to look up to meet his eyes. "I'm going to give you an opportunity," he said. "One chance to make this right. Tell me where the watch is, return it, and we'll forget this happened. I'll even write you a reference, help you find employment elsewhere. Elsewhere, exile dressed as mercy. I can't return something I didn't take." His jaw tightened, the first crack in his composure. "You're making this harder than it needs to be. You're accusing me of something I didn't do. I'm giving you a chance to be honest." "I am being honest," my voice echoed in the dining room, louder than I'd intended, sharper. Vincent didn't flinch, just looked at me with that expression, the one that said he'd already decided, and my words were just noise delaying the inevitable. "Then we have a problem," he said quietly. He walked back to his chair, sat down, pulled a folder from the side table, opened it. Inside were papers, documents. He slid them across the table toward me. "Your contract," he said. "Section 12, paragraph 4. Any employee suspected of theft can be terminated immediately without severance or reference. I looked at the papers, the words blurred, not from tears, from rage so pure it felt like clarity. You're firing me. I'm protecting my household. Based on nothing. Based on probability, opportunity, and the inconvenient fact that valuable things don't simply vanish. They do if someone else took them. Who? It was a challenge, an invitation to accuse someone else, to throw another name into the fire to save myself. I thought about Anthony, his smile, his warning, the way he'd said if there's footage like he already knew there wouldn't be. But I had no proof, just suspicion. And suspicion from someone like me, directed at someone like him, was worse than useless. It was dangerous. I don't know, I said. Then we're finished. He slid another paper across the table. A severance waiver, sign it, and I'd get 2 weeks' pay. Refuse, and I'd get nothing, plus a threatened lawsuit for the value of the watch. $15,000. That's what he claimed it was worth. I didn't have $15 to spare, let alone $15,000. I looked at the paper, at the line where my signature was supposed to go. If I sign this, what happens? You leave quietly. I don't pursue legal action. We both move on. And my reputation? That depends on you. Stay quiet and I stay quiet. Make noise. He shrugged. I have lawyers, resources, a name that means something in this city. You have... He didn't finish the sentence. Didn't need to. I had nothing. I picked up the pen he'd placed next to the paper. Vincent watched, waiting, confident. I held the pen over the signature line, and then I set it down. No. His expression shifted. Surprise. Then something darker. Excuse me? I said no. I'm not signing anything. I didn't steal from you, and I'm not going to let you write a story where I did. You don't have a choice. I do. I might not have power, or money, or lawyers, but I have the truth, and I'm not giving that up just because it's inconvenient for you. I stood. My legs felt weak, but I stood anyway. If you want to fire me, fire me. If you want to sue me, sue me. But I'm not signing away my integrity so you can sleep better at night. I turned to leave. Grace. His voice was different now, harder, the reasonable facade gone. You're making a mistake. Maybe, but it's my mistake to make. I walked out of the dining room, through the kitchen, past Maria, who wouldn't look at me, out the service entrance. The rain had picked up. I didn't have an umbrella. I walked to my car, got in, sat there, hands on the steering wheel, staring at the estate through the wet windshield. I'd just refused Vincent Marchetti, said no to a man who wasn't used to hearing it. I should have felt triumphant, brave. Instead, I felt terrified, because I knew what came next. Men like Vincent don't accept defiance. They crush it, methodically, thoroughly. They make examples so the next person knows better than to try. I started the car. The engine coughed, sputtered, caught. As I drove away from the estate, I looked in the rearview mirror. The house sat on its hill, marble and iron and glass, beautiful and brutal. I wondered how many people had driven away from that place feeling exactly like I did, knowing they'd been broken, wondering if standing up had been brave or just stupid. The rain made everything gray, the city, the road, the future. I didn't know where I was going, just away, always away. 3 days later, the video appeared, not from Vincent, from Anthony. He called me, my number. I'd never given it to him, but men like that have ways of getting what they want. The phone rang at 11 p.m. I was in my apartment, eating instant noodles, trying to figure out how to pay rent without a job or a reference. Grace, it's Anthony Marchetti. I didn't respond, just listened. I have something you need to see. Can you meet me? Why would I do that? Because it's about the watch, and because I think you deserve to know the truth. I already know the truth. I didn't take it. I know. He said it simply, factually. But you're going to need proof, and I have it. Why would you help me? Silence. Then, maybe I don't like watching innocent people get destroyed. Or maybe I have my own reasons. Does it matter? It did. But I was desperate. Desperation makes you trust people you shouldn't. Where? He gave me an address, a cafe in a neighborhood I didn't know, public, neutral. I almost didn't go, but the alternative was doing nothing. Letting Vincent's story become the official version. letting myself become what he'd decided I was. So I went. The cafe was small, chrome and Edison bulbs and coffee that cost more than a meal. Anthony was in the back corner, wearing jeans and a jacket that probably cost more than my car. He looked relaxed, comfortable, like meeting me was just another Tuesday. I sat down across from him. "Show me." He pulled out a tablet, tapped the screen, turned it toward me. Security footage, black and white, time stamp, 3 days before Vincent accused me. The camera showed Vincent's bedroom. I could see the dresser, the watch sitting on it. Then the door opened. Anthony walked in. I watched as he moved directly to the dresser, picked up the watch, examined it, slipped it into his pocket. He left the room, closed the door. 40 seconds. That's all it took. I looked up from the screen. Anthony was watching me, expression neutral. "Why?" I asked. "Money." He said it like it was obvious. "That watch is worth $30,000 if you sell it to the right buyer. More than that in sentimental value. My uncle has a lot of nice things. Taking one here and there, he'd never notice. Except," he smiled, rueful. "He noticed. So you blame me." "I didn't blame anyone. He did. You were just convenient." The word tasted like acid. "Why are you showing me this?" "Because it's gotten out of hand. He's planning to sue you, make an example. My uncle, when he commits to something, he doesn't let go. You'll be destroyed, financially, professionally. And for what? A watch I already sold? You sold it. 3 days ago, to a collector in Boston. It's gone, unrecoverable." He leaned forward. "But this footage clears you, shows exactly what happened. You take this to him, he'll have to back down. You're on the footage. He'll know you took it." "He will." Anthony nodded. "But I'm family. Your staff. Who do you think he's going to protect?" The logic was flawless. Horrible, but flawless. "So I'm just supposed to accept that you get away with it. You're supposed to accept reality. I did something wrong. I'm admitting it. But I'm not going to prison. I'm not going to lose everything. That's not how this works for people like me." He gestured at the tablet. "Take the footage. Use it. Save yourself, or don't. Principles are expensive, Grace, and from where I'm sitting, you can't afford them." I wanted to hit him, wanted to scream, wanted to grab that tablet and throw it through the window and watch his comfortable, entitled world shatter like glass. But he was right. He'd stolen. He'd lied. He'd let me take the fall. And he'd get away with all of it, because that's how it works. That's how it's always worked. "Why do you even care?" I asked. "If he sues me, you're in the clear. Why risk showing me this?" He was quiet for a moment. Then, "My uncle built his empire on loyalty, on family, on the idea that blood matters more than anything. But blood can be poison too. And watching him destroy you over something I did, it felt wrong, even to me. You have a conscience. I have a limit." He pushed the tablet toward me. "Take it. Don't take it. Your choice. But decide fast. He's filing the lawsuit tomorrow." I looked at the screen, at the frozen image of Anthony's hand reaching for the watch. Truth, right there, documented, undeniable. But truth without power is just evidence no one will believe. I picked up the tablet. "I need a copy." "Already done." He pulled a flash drive from his pocket, set it on the table. "Everything's on there, multiple angles, time stamps, enough to bury me if you wanted to." "But I won't." "No, you won't." He stood. "Because you're smarter than that. You'll take this to my uncle. He'll watch it. He'll understand what happened. And then he'll make you an offer, your job back, a raise, maybe even an apology. And in exchange, you'll forget this conversation ever happened. You'll never mention my name, never suggest I was involved. You'll let him save face by pretending it was all a misunderstanding. And you walk away clean." "I walk away clean." He buttoned his jacket. "That's the deal, Grace. Justice for you. Immunity for me. Everyone wins. Except you stole from your own family. Family's complicated." He smiled that smile again, empty and perfect. "Besides, he's done worse. We all have. The only difference is who gets caught and who gets protected." He left. I sat there in the cafe, holding the flash drive, feeling the weight of it. This was my chance, my proof, the thing that would vindicate me. And all it cost was letting a guilty man go free. I thought about Vincent, about his certainty, his willingness to destroy me over something I didn't do. I thought about Anthony, about his smile, his casual admission of theft, his absolute confidence that I'd protect him because I had no other choice. I thought about justice, real justice, the kind that doesn't negotiate. And then I thought about rent, about groceries, about the phone call I'd have to make to my mother if I couldn't pay my bills, about the look on her face when I told her I'd lost another job, another chance. I put the flash drive in my pocket, and I drove to the estate. Vincent was in his study. I knocked. He didn't answer immediately, made me wait. A power play so small it was almost unconscious. Finally, enter. I walked in. He was behind his desk, reading something. Didn't look up. I have something you need to see, I said. Unless it's the watch, I'm not interested. It's better than the watch. It's the truth. That got his attention. He looked up, saw the flash drive in my hand. What is that? Security footage? From your bedroom? The day the watch disappeared. His expression shifted. Caution, curiosity. I plugged the drive into his computer, pulled up the video file, hit play. We both watched in silence. Anthony entering, taking the watch, leaving. 40 seconds that changed everything. When it finished, Vincent was very still. His face had gone carefully blank. The kind of blank that meant he was thinking very hard about what came next. Where did you get this? Does it matter? It does to me. Someone who thought I deserved the truth. He studied me, then looked back at the screen. At his nephew's frozen image. Anthony? It wasn't a question, just confirmation of something he'd probably suspected but chosen not to see. He admitted it, I said. Told me he sold it. Told me he let you blame me because it was easier. Vincent's hands curled into fists on the desk. The only sign of anger he allowed himself. Why did he give you this? Guilt or self-preservation? Maybe both. And what do you want? Money? Your job back? I want you to admit you were wrong. He looked at me like I'd spoken a different language. Excuse me? I want you to say it. Out loud. That you accused me without evidence. That you were willing to destroy my life over an assumption. That you saw a black woman in your house and decided she must be the thief because that fit your idea of how the world works. His jaw tightened. That's not what happened. Isn't it? Silence, heavy, dangerous. Then, quietly, no, it isn't. Then what was it? He stood, walked to the window, looked out at his gardens, perfect hedges, perfect lawns, everything controlled and ordered. When something goes wrong, he said slowly, you look for the simplest explanation. The watch was there. You were there. It disappeared. That's not prejudice. That's logic. Logic based on what? I've worked for you for 3 years, never stolen anything, never even been late. But the moment something valuable goes missing, I'm your first suspect. Why? Because you had access. So did Anthony, so did Maria, so did Luis, so did you. But you didn't suspect them. Anthony is family. Exactly. I let the word hang there. Let him hear what it meant. Family gets the benefit of the doubt. Family gets protected. People like me get accused. He turned from the window, looked at me directly. You're right. 2 words, said quietly, but they shook the room. I made an assumption, a prejudiced one, and I nearly destroyed your life because of it. He walked back to his desk, sat down heavily. I pride myself on being fair, on reading people correctly, but I was wrong about you, about this. He gestured at the screen. I'm sorry. The apology sat between us, genuine, insufficient. What about Anthony? He's family. I'll handle it internally. That's not justice. No, it's not, but it's reality. I can't send my nephew to jail over a watch. The family wouldn't survive it. The business wouldn't survive it. So he gets away with it. He gets consequences, just not the ones you want. Vincent opened a drawer, pulled out a checkbook. How much to make this right? I don't want your money. Everyone wants money. I want my job back, with a raise and a written apology, and my name cleared publicly. He considered this, then nodded. Done. And one more thing. What? I want you to understand that people like me don't have the luxury of being wrong. When you made your assumption about me, it wasn't just insulting, it was dangerous. It could have ended my career, ruined my reputation, made it impossible to find work. One accusation from you, and my life derails. But Anthony steals, and he gets handled internally. That's not justice. That's just power protecting power. Vincent was quiet for a long moment. Then, you're right, again. He wrote something on a piece of paper, slid it across the desk. 50% raise, effective immediately. And this. He pulled out another paper, official letterhead. A formal apology and retraction. I'll have it distributed to the household staff and anyone I may have spoken to about this matter. I looked at the papers. At his signature at the bottom, it wasn't justice, not really, but it was something. I picked up the documents, folded them carefully. Thank you, Mr. Marchetti. Vincent, please. He almost smiled. Almost. After everything, formality seems unnecessary. I nodded, turned to leave. Grace? I stopped. For what it's worth, you were right to refuse to sign the severance. Most people would have taken the easy way out. You didn't. That's... He paused, searching for the word. Rare. Or stupid. No. Rare. He looked at the computer screen again, at his nephew's image. Stupidity is thinking blood makes you loyal. You've been more loyal to the truth than my own family has been to me. I didn't know what to say to that, so I just left. Outside, rain was falling again, soft, clean. I stood in it for a moment, letting it wash over me, feeling the cold on my skin, the weight of the documents in my hand. I'd won, sort of, in the way people without power win, by surviving, by refusing to disappear, by insisting on being seen. Anthony would face some consequences, probably financial, maybe exile from the family for a while, but he wouldn't be ruined, wouldn't have a criminal record, wouldn't spend the rest of his life explaining why he'd been accused of theft. That privilege was reserved for people like him. People like me just got to keep our jobs. I got in my car, started the engine, looked back at the estate one more time. Marble, iron, glass. Beautiful and brutal. I'd learned something in that house, something I'd suspected but never fully understood. Truth doesn't set you free. Truth just gives you something to hold on to while you fight for the smallest piece of dignity the world is willing to give you. Justice isn't a gift, it's a negotiation. And the people with the most power always negotiate from strength. But sometimes, not often, but sometimes, refusing to disappear is enough. Sometimes just existing, stubbornly, in the face of people who want you gone, is its own kind of victory. I drove home, parked, climbed the stairs to my apartment. Inside, everything was exactly as I'd left it. Small, cramped, cheap furniture, walls that needed paint. But it was mine. I set the documents on the table, made tea, sat by the window and watched the rain turn the city soft and gray. The truth had been revealed. Vincent knew, I knew, Anthony knew, and tomorrow I'd go back to work. I'd clean the same floors, dust the same shelves, move through the same rooms. But I wouldn't be invisible anymore, not completely, because Vincent had seen me, really seen me, not as staff, not as a function, but as a person who'd refused to be reduced to his assumptions. That was something, not justice, not redemption, but something. I finished my tea, set the cup down gently. Outside, the rain kept falling. Quiet, patient, inevitable, just like the truth. Always there, waiting to be found.